pick the time, you pick the date. Bring anybody you want with you. People that like me, don't like me. I have the truth. You don't have to like me or agree with my policies and procedures on the YouTubes. I have receipts and signed contracts. You messed up when you made that post. I'm the wrong one. I am the wrong one to mess with. This isn't a video I want to make. The evolved version of me should not be involved in any of this stuff. However, I'm going to let some other people speak to the conferences and my character and the things that we've done on this channel. And then I'm going to come back. This video is going to be a little bit long. I'm going to give you facts, details on how Steve, RIDESHARE Rodeo, is gaslighting, spreading misinformation, and lying. Or at the very least being disingenuous to push his agenda to make himself feel better. I'm going to go over a community post he put up 4 or 5 days ago. And I'm going to bring actual receipts and I'm not going to involve anybody else and put anybody else in the middle. This is between him and I.
2022 gig conference was amazing. Pedro did an amazing job.
It was a gig conference, but it definitely really was felt more like a family reunion. Really, we couldn't ask anything more for a gig conference, man. This turned out really good. How are you guys watching? And it's just starting.
First of all, I gotta bring Pedro. Come here, Pedro. Come on. So we around here? Yeah, I don't. So, for those of you, everybody knows Pedro, probably watching the stream, but if you don't, this is Pedro. If you weren't at his event yesterday, he did an amazing job at his event too. We had 2 events in this town this weekend, and it's really nice to see this many people throw up or show up. So I just wanted to give Pedro the mic here and let him say a couple words because we spent a lot of time planning this. We did.
Apparently, some folks feel that it was a waste of time. See that it wasn't a waste of time?
So, I don't know. This guy.
Is this RIDESHARE Rodeo?
Yeah, are you guys in Denver?
We have another very special guest
Kim's
here.
here too.
Kim's Side Money Plans. GigCon 2023 Denver. 2-day event. We got the GigCon on Friday. And Steve, what do we got going on Saturday?
I was like, wait, he's not supposed to be here.
Bring you guys together just to think about the awesome things that you guys have done, that we've done. You guys have been working through a pandemic. You guys have had to deal with a lot of stuff, right?
Hey, nice to meet you. I need a 360 spin from you. Right. Nice to you. Yeah! It's the Driven Dad and the Driven Mom. Oh my god.
What up?
How are you guys feeling? 2022 Gig Conference.
It's been awesome.
It's been
I mean,
sick.
I put my polo under the conference shirt, so you know I'm feeling it.
My thoughts. What are my thoughts? It was awesome. It went amazing. I can't say that enough. It was a blast. I don't regret the drive.
Yes.
How was it?
So excited, bro. So excited to meet the kids. I had met Pedro last year at Herbivore in March. Not last year, this year. What am I saying? Amazing people. Friday was a great day. You know, met a whole bunch of content creators and drivers. Actually, you know, a few people that I frequently email with, they came and said hello. Thank you for, you know who you are.
Play the role where I can in the pieces that we're going to be doing. I think everybody's going to be, even if you want to catch specific pieces, I think you'd be happy catching any of the pieces. They're all really good. So,
Crack 101. What's the matter with you? What have I been telling you? Sometimes hurting somebody ain't the answer. First of all, is he a good friend of yours? Nah, I don't even like him. You don't even like him? Well, there's your answer right there. Look at it this way. It costs you $20 to get rid of him, right? He's never going to bother you again. He's never going to ask you for money again. He's out of your life for $20. You got off cheap. Forget it. You're always right. You're always right.
So, apparently, GigCon 2022, 2023, and a virtual one we did, the 3 events, were all failures. He insinuates in this post that I'm going to read with you, pretty much line for line here, that I'm somehow stealing money from sponsors or being not honest about spending and questioning the cost of certain events and labeling them as failures. And his event, the Town Hall in Colorado 2023, the day after the 2023 GigCon, was a success. And the other events that we did together were failures. I'm bringing facts. This could get very personal. Some of you will unsubscribe. You won't like this. That's your absolute right to do so. What I won't have is libel, slander, and defamation about me and things that I've done that my family and friends at the time were involved in that we worked very hard on. And I will not have people in the community, whether it's 10 or 100, thinking that I'm somehow committing fraud by stealing money from sponsors. I'm going to outline facts about those said sponsors and talk about the lies that are in his community posts. Hang tight, because somebody that claims to be transparent in this community was not so in his post. Steve, you're a coward, and I'm going to call you out publicly. Before we read the post, one thing about me is I will always defend myself, even when I don't have to, and I don't have to. But at the end of the day, when I made this channel, really any channel, this is a secondary channel, but my name and likeness is there. It is what it is. If you came from the main one, and the reason I'm not putting it on the main one, I don't trust people to not do some weird things over there. I just don't. Plus, that community I want to try to keep as positive as I can. This one, I talk about locals, stupid individuals. Steve is one of those people. So it seems kind of fitting in some ways. Buckle up. So this is the king of transparency. This is his post. I'm not going to read the first paragraph. I'm going to attribute both. There's two content creators that I'm attributing in this particular video here. You can check out their channels down below to get the fake news. I'm not going to read. I'm going to go down to some bullet points here. Well, I'll start with here. In 2023, GigCon was originally planned for Nashville. Well, I had said that was a place that was talked about. We even talked about it in 2022. Oh, Nashville will be cool. And I kind of put some things off, wondering, should I even do it? Things were happening, and then I started a little bit late on the planning. So that is a true statement. Originally, the thought and a handful of people thought maybe Nashville would be a spot. But after having some conversations, we didn't land on that. Many of you probably remember this. The so-called planner, can't even use my name. That's why I call him a coward, who organized, if you can call it that, put it off so long that it did not come together. Having done that, having done the first GigCon failure in St. Louis, Steve from RIDESHARE Rodeo is calling the first GigCon a failure. What did you just see in the clips that you just saw? Not one person that I met called 2022 a failure. I mean, to call that one a failure, I take that personal. I take that extremely personal. I'll outline in a minute, but let's continue reading. So apparently that's a failure. His ego and pride got in the way because I called him out. That's why he did this extremely embarrassing gaslit post in St. Louis. And the Cyber GigCon, which the person is in no shocker, with this person is in no shocker that Nashville fell apart. It didn't fall apart. We just I made a decision to do it in Colorado. I'll get to that in a minute. We had nothing planned in Nashville. No money was spent. Nothing fell apart. Nobody bought tickets for anything in Nashville. Okay. Many of you will remember I had started planning a whitewater rafting trip in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado. Blah, 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 blah. That was a true thing. There were some community posts which I can't find. He made a decision not to do that. I have no idea. From what I understood in conversations we had, he didn't have 40 people already signed up. But that's not that important. But that is a true statement. That was an idea that was thought out. But I'll get to that in a moment. Hang tight. Okay? I'm going to skip a little bit. At the Nashville GigCon, after the Nashville GigCon, I don't know what that means. There was no Nashville GigCon. The so-called planner told me he was going to do it in Colorado. Full well knowing we had people lined up for what would have been an amazing weekend. I made the decision in conjunction with other people and having thought process, well, what if we do it in Colorado? I know a couple people out there in Colorado, him being one of them. Doing it in Nashville, a place I've never been after doing the first one in St. Louis, a place that I know, could have been a lot more difficult. Man, we have a connection in Colorado, more of a drive for me personally and my family that I brought along, but maybe Colorado would be cool. Love to go there and try it out. So, hey, what are we doing in Colorado? And we make this a unified thing. Sounds like a great idea to me. That was a failure on my part, was deciding to continue to do it in Colorado. That was part of the failure. I take ownership of that. But that didn't stop him from doing what he was going to plan already. Why he's mentioning that is beyond me, Steve. That needs some explaining. Some extreme explaining, because that makes no logical sense based on the conversations that you and other people had about doing it in Colorado. It was an idea and it made sense, but that backfired on me. I take, as a leader of that particular decision making, I take full responsibility. Let's see. Because knowing he dropped the ball and pretended to make it look like a great event, canceled the amazing plans in the mountains and decided to do the town hall in Denver the day after GigCon 2023. GigCon was a complete failure. Again, luckily the town hall event was off the chart. GigCon never had his gig workers in a room he rented for an event, as there were vendors there. The town hall had food, drinks, 3 rooms, and a historic town. He's making himself feel better. We had food and drinks at the GigCon. What are we talking about here? Let's see. We were packed. We're going to get to that in a second. And people took the mic and spoke for 35 minutes each. Yeah, I was one of those people. I was actually the first one. You saw that in the beginning. Senator Kevin Priola and Stephanie Vigio both attended. That's great. Fantastic. Not taking anything away from that event. Okay? Amazing event. I'm not going to throw shade there. In a recent video, the so-called planner of GigCon referred to a few things that we need to set the record straight on. This is where it gets good. I told you this video was going to be long. Okay, first off, let's make this very clear. You, by my count, and by looking at the pictures that I have in video evidence, about 5 to 6 people were at your event that weren't at GigCon, Friday's event. Meaning, I brought 90% of the people that were there because they were there at Friday's event. Whether they flew in or they were the moves team or this person or that person or a content creator that drove, you would have had some people there, but it would not have been the same event. And you would have had 5 or 6 people there, and Stephanie and Kevin would have showed up and it would have been a dud. That's a fact. If you look at the people that were at that event, if we did not do GigCon in Denver, where would you have gotten people? Because if you were inviting people on your own, which I thought you would have done for Friday, which you didn't, a major reason why we only had about 100 people, not 40, at GigCon 2023 in Denver. Thought you were going to help with that. Thought you had some connections. You seem to talk like a big game. I know everybody. I'm in Denver. It's my town. You brought nobody. Not for real. Now, some people came, Sergio and Kim and Zach, and they loved the Saturday thing you did. That's fine. But they probably weren't going to fly out for that one-day event. They were sponsored by Wallet to come out as a 2-day deal. So you wouldn't have had anybody there, Steve. That was the point of my video. And I gave you the $1,000. We'll get into that in a minute. But let's talk about these so-called planner notes that he puts in here. This is what's interesting. 1, so-called planner made all caps, this is Steve's words, all his connections for vendors for all GigCons through me. Lie. Bold-faced lie, Steve. You're a liar. You started off this post and your bullet post here with a lie right off the jump to make yourself feel good and to gaslight your community. Lie. And you know it. The first GigCon, Paro was happily to sponsor it. No problem. They had a great time. The CEO was there, David Piccarelli. I mean, GigCon 2022, I'll get to that probably towards the end, was amazing for many different reasons. That is the connection I have through you, but I knew about them, and I had email correspondence with some of the Paro team before you. Or maybe you're part of the team. It doesn't matter. RIDESHARE guy, Harry, gave $1,000 for the food. He just gave $1,000. My connection with Harry has nothing to do with you. I made that on my own. Solo, there were another main sponsor for the 2022 Gig Conference in St. Louis. Connection, through me, had nothing to do with you. Buckle, I can't remember. I think I got that from Harry. Maybe it was from you, can't remember. They're no longer around anymore, so whatever. It is what it is. So you have the RIDESHARE guy, you have Solo, you have Buckle, and Para. Those are all made through you? Lie. Lie. Let me read it again. So-called planner made all his connections for vendors for all GigCons through me. That is a lie. You just lied to make yourself feel better and to gaslight your community. That's a lie. In the virtual GitCons, whatever, the 2023, the virtual GitCon, I had connections. You help with the Move ones. Great. We'll get to that in a second. But not all the connections were made through you. In the third conference that we did, the second one in person in Denver, 2023, Solo sponsored it. That's my connection. I made that, still have that connection with them. Moves, you had a hand in that. Thanks for that, I guess. I did most of the lifting. I had a great relationship with them. We'll get to that in a minute. I told you this video is going to be long, but I'm bringing facts and receipts because Steve is a liar. Well, at least he lied in this post many times. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff. That's the first. Stuvo, did you make that connection, Steve? I did. I made that connection. They gave $1,000. We had 3 sponsors. Voila sent out, Sergio and Kim and Zach, whatever. That's what the RIDESHARE guy. I didn't have anything to do with that. They didn't give me any money to put on the event, but they helped make it happen through different channels and avenues. Now, I had other connections set up through other people, nothing to do with you, that I actually had to turn down because of you. We'll get to that in a minute. I told you this video is going to be long, but I'm bringing facts and receipts because this man has gaslit you. And if you're watching this, I'm sorry if you're one of the commenters here thinking that he won and you guys know what's going on. You have no clue. None. I turned down money because of Steve's fragile male ego. I turned down having a kid come out and speak with his dad that is kind of well known in the gig community because Steve doesn't like kids in the gig economy because of his brand. And I had an 2-hour-long conversation with him and had to turn down him as a sponsor and as a coordinator to help the event to appease Steve because he's a baby. And there are other people that know about that. That's not just between Steve and I. Anyways, so all the sponsors were contacts through him. Lie. Complete lie. Second point, in this video, he claims he gave me $1,000 for the event, which he did. I did. Through, I think it was PayPal. Have the receipt for that as well. But was absolutely must discuss the parts he left out. I really didn't leave many parts out, Steve, because when I did this event and started we were working together to get people to help things. I was doing most of the heavy lifting, but there was never in the beginning stages of you needing money for the town hall until you needed it. That's why I question it. What's it for? What, Curry was there. Why didn't Curry pay for it? Why didn't Para pay for all of it? Like, why did it have to come from this? Why did you attach, in talking to Moves, the money that I got from them was for the GigCon. Even Matt was confused as to, are these separate events or main events? Because you leached onto the GigCon to get money for the town hall. And I just said, okay, it is what it is. 3, forget about VirtualCon. It's not worth mentioning. Really? It's not worth mentioning? That's interesting. News to me. Seemed to have a great time when he did it. A lot of planning went into that too. But GigCon 1 and 2 both had 3 vendors, all donating $3,000 for GigCon. Nope, not true. Not all donating $3,000. Lie. Or misinformation because you didn't know. For GigCon 1, one of those vendors, Moves Financial, donating $5,000 for GigCon 2. That's true. It's a fact. Because I was very upfront with the money we were getting from people. I didn't hide anything. I still have receipts. I still have emails. I still have receipts. I still have everything that's written down. I still have contracts that were signed. I'll get to that. I'm passionate about this because this right here is embarrassing, disgusting, despicable post is not what men do. This is deplorable, full of lies and deceit and gaslighting. You as his viewership. 4, GigCon 2 meeting that I brought the so-called planner into to help him raise sponsor money with Moves Financial. My friend Matt spoke, who was the CEO, founder of Moves, said in a meeting that he was putting $5,000 towards both events. I do remember that because my connection with Moves was made through the virtual con because they did a little promo spot. But honestly, I don't. This is where it gets interesting for me. I remember that, but I also remember when it came time to do the in-person one, Matt was even confused about, are these for both events? I had the email, like, are these separate? Are they, you know, and maybe he would have just gave Steve an extra $1,000. That's why it's a little foggy there, but there is some truth there. I'm not gonna lie here. Bullet point 5. I told the so-called planner, can't even say my name, what a coward, that I only needed $2,000 total for the room, food, drinks, and town hall, the remainder of which was to go to funding GigCon $7,000. Okay, sure, yeah. Whatever. I thought it was only $1,000. I don't remember $2,000, but it is what it is. I remember giving $1,000, right? 6. When it came time for me to make the deposit on a room, I told the so-called planner I needed the $2,000. He replied, "Remind me what you need this for." That's a fair question in business. Somebody asks you for money. Remind me what you need this for. I don't know why he put that in. That's very strange. 7. The problem this person ran into was he rented the top floor of an old, beat-up hotel outside downtown Denver, and the hotel charged him $5,000. In parentheses, he says, "I have receipts. Come join me on a live." You're gonna call me a liar and tell the community that I'm somehow being deceitful? I'm calling you out publicly, Mr. Steve RIDESHARE Rodeo. Join me anytime, anywhere, anytime, any place, any date, any year, on the moon or on the earth, anywhere. I'll pull receipts, bro. You're not gonna gaslight your small community into thinking that this is reality. That's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna slander and viable and drag my name into fame. You're not gonna do it. Just because you don't like me anymore, I don't care. We don't have to like each other. In working these conferences with you, I learned exactly who you were. Some people just don't get along, but you don't lie about it. You don't spread this kind of junk online in a post to make yourself feel better. That's exactly what I think my opinion is that you did here. I rented out a great place, beat up. People that stayed there, nobody said that. Everybody that walked into that room, oh my God, the view. I did it because I had a beautiful mountain view. So Denver, you think of the mountains, right? The solo shirt had the mountains, like that's what you think of. Let's find a room. The hotel wasn't beat up at all. Anybody that stayed there had no issues. At least they didn't tell me. I stayed there, rooms were fine, it was clean, it was staffed, it wasn't in a bad part of town. Once again, propaganda to fit a narrative. 8. After telling the person you were supposed to give me half the sponsor money for moves for the town hall, the excuses started flying. He was so unorganized, it was ridiculous. No excuses, I paid him. It didn't take long either. I sent him the money. A day or two maybe after he asked for it. Don't know why he's putting that in. Bullet point 9. Ended up he sent me $1,000. If you are all following, you are seeing that he had already scammed his way out of $2,500, which I said $2,000. Where did $2,500 come in? Was going to work. Then he needed more due to his extremely poor organizational skills and late planning. He basically spent $7,000 on a waste of everyone's time. Now listen, we're going to talk about GigCon 1 in a minute. We're talking about GigCon 2 here. That did not go out the way any of us wanted it to. I take full responsibility. Where I messed up was having it in Colorado and trusting Steve to help in a way to get more people there and get the word out. He didn't. He couldn't even do that for his own event because over 90% of the people that were there because of Friday's event. It's just a fact. The whole moves team. So he had a lady from Curry, some big guy in a hat, and I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 other people, maybe 5. So 5 or 6 people that weren't on there Friday showed up Saturday. I'm not including Kevin and Steve because we're not Kevin. Steve and with the girl Stephanie. If they would have showed up and saw Steve there with one other big guy in a hat, the Curry representative standing next to food, and 3 of his friends, that would have been an embarrassment. Stop messing with me, dude. Stop with this bullshit. Stop. I brought people together. Did it go where I wanted it to? No, but a lot of people still had a good time. And did as many people show up? No. Was it as organized and planned out as well as I would have liked? It was not. I messed up with the video, the audio, the live streaming of it. Didn't have enough proper vendors. I tried to have some friends help me with some vendor things. That didn't pan out. I think I would have been done better doing it off the way I did number 1 in a park. Like a family get-together reunion. That was amazing. So to call that one a failure too, you want to call 2023 a failure? Cool, but you helped plan it. So you're just as liable in that as I am. So we'll get to that in a minute. I think we're at 9. No, let me see. I told you this is going to be a long video, but I'm going piece by piece. I have nothing to hide. I believe in my heart that he does. As a telling person, okay, ended up, he spent $1,000. Okay, did that. Number 10. Luckily, I know the people at Wash Park Grill, so they worked with me on the deposit, and David from PAR stepped in and produced the $1,000 we needed for the real event that weekend. So why didn't David just pay for the whole thing? So he gave me $3,000 the year before, didn't sponsor the GigCon 2023, no hard feelings, no big deal. I was supposed to have a phone meeting with him. He never got back with me. Maybe he didn't want to spend money on the town hall or the GigCon. Cool, I didn't bother him about it, didn't make a big deal about it, didn't give Steve any hard time about it. No big deal. Grateful that he did what he did for the first one. I got no problems with PAR. He says I hate him. I don't hate him. I never needed it. I don't hate him. I don't have to love it, but it doesn't mean I hate it. So why didn't Curry because Curry sponsored it, was that just the shirts and sweaters that they gave out? Did they give you money? Because it was supposed to be free drinks at your event. There was no free drinks. Anybody that had a drink at the bar, we had to pay. And there was like chicken waffles and some food. Not as good food as we had the day before. So what was the 2004? Just for the room? I'm asking questions. You got receipts? Why didn't David just pay for the whole thing? Just saying. I mean, I had no problem giving you the money. That's a fact. You're mad because I called you out and it doesn't make you look that good. That's what this post is about. Because there would have been 5 to 10 people there if it wasn't for me having the event in Colorado. Let's just call it what it is. Because otherwise, you would have had an additional 50 to 100 people on Saturday. Then the room was full and your room was empty. We had a bigger room. So if you go to a baseball game and there's only 10,000 fans, yeah, it's going to look really low. And then if you go to a high school basketball game with 300, it might look packed. But numbers don't lie. Where were your people on Saturday, bro? Okay. So anyways, yeah, for the real event that weekend, some people, yeah, might have only wanted to go to that. But at the end of the day, I put something together. I thought we were putting something together to bring people together. And we did that. Content creators, whatever. I had people there that had beef on YouTube. And then when they met, it was cool. That's what I do. I bring people together to meet, to talk, to have a good time, to chop it up, to help one another. We still got that accomplished in 2023's Denver GigCon. Told you this video was going to be long. So to call it a failure, call 2023 what you want. It didn't go out the way I wanted it to. But the reason for that, I decided to do it in Denver, and that was a mistake. 12, the events both happened, GigCon 7,000 and Town Hall Super Success 2,000. Almost done here, folks. Stick with me. These are his words, also mine. As if that's not bad enough, the first GigCon in St. Louis also had 9,000 sponsor budget. This person rented part of a park for a few hours, extremely minimal cost to put on. How much do you know how much that cost? And it was a nice park. You left so much information out. Let's continue. 2, there was no indoor event or after the few hours in a park for that single day event. Yeah, I could have done a little bit better planning, first event, maybe something after, before. It wound up working out, but sure. It was a lot to do, and I was doing most of it by myself on that first go around, and my girlfriend and my 2 sisters that were there working the table that greeted everybody. To call that a failure, bro, dude, that is embarrassing for you to do. There's literally, I don't know, hundreds of hours of footage of everybody, including you, having a great time at that first event in St. Louis at the park. Let's continue. In fact, the after party event, we, PAR, hosted at a house David rented and the so-called planner attended as well. Of course I went there. It was an Airbnb. Everybody sat around and chilled. It was fine. But there was no glitz and glamour. Everybody was hanging out. It's just an after party. It was no big deal. No money involved there, really, right? He thanked David and I for providing the house for the after event. Sure. Of course I said thank you. By the way, the so-called planner always hated PAR. Nope. That's a lie. I never hated him. PAR gave him $3,000 for an event in the park. PAR was trying to also take advantage of my viewers. Because at that point, I had one of the most watched DoorDash gig channels on YouTube. fact. Look it up, okay? Look it up. So there was a mutually beneficial. Steven from RIDESHARE Rodeo. 6. Also boggled my mind how quick he liked Paro once they gave him $3,000. Okay. I didn't even work with them. I didn't start plugging their app. I didn't do any of that. You're tripping, bro. 7. Why am I bringing this first GigCon up? Question mark. 8. Does anyone think that 30 to 40 people in a park eating would cost $9,000? We had almost 100 people there. I think it was 97 when I counted. That's all. I've talked about that online. All these videos are all proof and evidence. This post is where you messed up. You did this probably emotionally in a triggered way, not realizing the facts and the things that you've said about this publicly about this event. So where did some of that money go? Let's answer those questions. Rental fees, food, dessert, custom-made pretzels, great barbecue that everybody loved, t-shirts, swag bags, security. I can't remember if it's 6 or 7. I'd have to go back into my records. People that I hired to run the event. Setup, cleanup. They did setup, cleanup. These were gig workers in St. Louis that I found on my own that I paid cash to that day. They were there. I have pictures. Everybody that went to that event met those people, and they had shirts on. They represented the Bet on You brand, and it was amazing. We had a karaoke. We had music and karaoke. That cost money. I mentioned security, right? Tents that I bought that were like set up as like canopy tents. Had to rent tables and chairs, not cheap. Had to buy a lot of supplies, signage and banners. Every person that gave money to me, not one person asked me for some kind of invoice or receipt. I would have provided it. I signed contracts with actionable deliverables, what I was going to deliver, meaning shout outs, plugs, signage that I had there saying who the sponsors was, me visually talking about it, making videos, referencing, wearing merchandise from these companies, and they were all fine with it. Not one person ever asked me for a receipt or this or that or ever had any complaints. Not one. Not one. So to question that, I didn't make any money on any of these events. Things cost money. Renting a U-Haul, like it begins to add up. And once again, Mr. RIDESHARE Rodeo, I have every single receipt. Actually, is this the U-Haul receipt? Look at that right there. I have every receipt. You want to come join me on a live and man up and stop being a coward? Anytime, any place, Mr. Rodeo. I'll call you out publicly. And the little people that you have watching you will have to know exactly what kind of gaslighter you are, because that's exactly what this post is, you coward. Coward. Just because you don't like me? Like, seriously? You're going to bend the truth, lie, and be disingenuous about it, and paint it like I pocketed all this money? And let's just say this. Let's say I did make some money off these events. Do you know how much time it took to do that? I'm not saying I did. And there are a lot of people that make money off events. That was not my goal, and that's not what happened in doing this. No receipts. Okay. I have number 10. I have done several events in my life, and never have I not shown the sponsors where their money went. They never asked. That wasn't part of the contract. We had deliverables and measurables, and that's what this was. If they asked me for a receipt, sure. But when companies give you money, they don't always ask for every nickel and dime unless you're an employee of theirs. They're wanting viewership, eyes, name recognition, connections. What are you talking about? 11. No receipts, even breakdown details were provided to any of the vendors. Para, Buckle, and Solo were the 3 sponsors to GigCon 1. How would you know that, though? And none of these people, I have a great relationship with Solo. Para's not around anymore. So the connections that you got me, Para, let's say the Moose ones, those companies don't even exist. What does that say? Buckle doesn't exist. There's one that I forgot about that was part of the third event, the GigCon 2023, Display Ride. They did sponsor 2 giveaways for Display Rides, which was great. They didn't give me any money, but they did offer that and a sign. Great. Don't even use it anymore. Not even sure if they're still around. I guess they are. No idea. But that was their thing. Didn't ask for any receipts. I got I think some stock stock options if they ever go public with that company, because we did sell some in a video that I did. It's just me being transparent. I forgot about them. No receipt, even breakdown. Okay, it wasn't, nobody asked me. And Moves, you know, they had such a great time at Denver 2023 that they flew me out on their dime to Cleveland like in November of that year or so, and did great events with them. They no longer are around. That's okay. A couple months later, they, you know, dissolved or whatever happened. I don't have all the details, but they're not doing business anymore. But I had such a great relationship with them. Still talk to one of the people that used to work there, that they spent more money. Like they wanted more connections with me. Does that sound like a sponsor that was upset about not getting some receipts about what the money was spent? Some companies give money. They're not looking for receipts. They're just saying, we're going to give you $5,000. Boom, here you go. Even at the one in Denver, I had my girlfriend hand write the name tags for people, the little lanyards, hand wrote. This is a nice little touch. One of the Moves guys like, what? If you do this again next year, we're going to sponsor it. We can help you with all this stuff, Pedro. Does that sound like a sponsor that's like tripping about money or questioning? Not one time has anybody that's ever given me money to put an event on had any problems with me. If they have conversations in the background, they're not telling me about them. But if you ask me for receipts, I'll gladly show you a receipt. No problem at all, because I'm transparent, Mr. Rodeo, are you? This post right here lacks extreme transparency to your community. I'm almost done here. Let's see. I think he kind of ends. Those are the bullet points. I went through all of them because there's some truth in some of them, and there's a lot of lies and misdirection and misinformation and gaslighting and disingenuous commentary in that post. He ends it with, there was a point during 2022 into early 2023, I did not think this person was as deceitful as he really is. How am I deceitful? I was going to tell you about other lie he has said in the reference video, but I will tell you, the readers decide for yourself what I have done for the gig community. Please feel free to make a list of what the so-called planner has done for this community. I feel like I've done a lot. We all have our roles here. I feel like I've done a lot. Oh, I know I've done a lot because I talk to people every day, if not every week. And sure, have we made some mistakes on this channel? Has every conference gone exactly perfect? No. But the biggest mistake was working with you more on the one in Denver, because the first one was rock and roll, baby. Everybody, I mean, you can't meet one person that went to that conference in St. Louis that did not have a good time. Not one. Nobody regretted it. You saw the videos in the beginning, and there's more. I could pull hours, tens and thousands. I can pull 100 hours of footage, not 100, 50 hours of footage from that first one from many different content creators, and most talked about it great. There are a few things maybe could have been better, but you can critique anything. But this is embarrassing, bro. You should be embarrassed to call yourself a transparent individual. That's what your whole platform is. This is not a transparent post at all. With that said, I have not watched this person's content in almost 2 years, so you have no idea what I've been going through then. What? Not going through. What I've been talking about. What's been going on? How helpful I've been. More gaslighting to fit your propaganda and agenda. And you have a lot of propaganda and gaslighting and agendas on that channel. A lot. When it comes to legislation, how you view this and that. You talk about facts, you give a lot of your opinion on your podcast. A lot of it. And a lot of what you think is going to happen does not happen. And if anything, you're anti-driver because you want apps like DoorDash and Uber to fail. You want them to go away. You laugh when stock goes down, even though drivers depend on those apps. You're embarrassing, bro. You're literally an embarrassment to this community. That's my opinion. You got yours, I can have mine. I should not have to explain why. It should be very clear. Why? Because I saw a video of you harassing people that don't speak English that speak English as a second language, and you assume something about them. So I said something. Why? Because Jeffrey Thomas Black went and spread lies and misinformation about my earnings on your podcast, and I called you out for it, and you got butthurt because you can't. At that point, we were friends. You can't defend a friend. It was a slow burn in our relationship. Why? Because you made everything for Denver 2023. I'm sorry, not everything. You made half the stuff that we did very difficult. And I have the other two people that helped us with that conference to back me up on that. Conversations that I've had with other people, I won't mention their names. You know who they are. Other people can figure it out. What's going on with Steve? Man, no. Love bombing, doing this, doing that, feeling bad about this, so then you send a sign, feeling bad about this, so then here's display ride. Because you were just you do too much sometimes, man. You do too much. You know, another thing that's interesting, where'd this ball come from? So it was so hard to work with me. I made you do everything. I didn't ask you to do that much, bro. That was maybe that was a problem. Maybe that was, who gave me this ball? You had people sign this? This is failure? This is a failure? We're putting together conferences. You regret doing those, but then you give me this? What are we talking about here? The reality is myself and many others are all unified in a fight for the transparency on gig apps. Be transparent in seeing this posting on your channel, because you got some lies going on here. Either you're lying, disclaimer, either you're lying or you're being disingenuous or you don't know. But the first sentence in this thing here, in this little bullet point, all of the contacts were made through you, that's a lie. I can prove it. Can you? I'm willing to risk everything, bro. I'm gonna die on these hills. You're lying in this post several times. Have a wonderful and safe week. Kind of ends with this. Have a wonderful and safe week. Come on by the rodeo anytime. He needs people. Nobody watches that. It's garbage. It's boring. He talks about the same stuff. Waymo sucks. AI. DoorDash is horrible. He's boring to listen to. We are getting things done all the time with a real track record to show for it. Peace, love, and happiness. Oh, you all can decide for yourself what the reality is. I just gave you the reality. You can like Steve more than me. You can like me more than him. This isn't a popularity contest. We're not in high school. I got facts, and I'll back them up on a live any day of the week with receipts, emails, and text messages. So you, the viewers, you go ask Steve about that. Torp, the other contributor that I'm attaching in this video, why don't you reply to this, Torp? Why don't you make a video about everything that I just said, debunking your puppet? Why don't you do that? You don't like me. You're a good little troll. You're a funny guy sometimes. I can appreciate that. I got no problem with what you say. You don't offend me. But the problem is Steve is leeched onto you because he don't like me for whatever reason. You know, I'm a big hip hop fan. I love rap beefs, you know, and there's always two sides to every story. And you got this artist or this person. Beef is a thing everywhere. YouTube and celebrities and gossip columns and beef. People don't like this cousin, don't like that cousin. Families have it. At the end of the day, we don't have to like each other. But the truth is the truth. And don't you dare gaslight the community thinking that I somehow am being not honest about what this cost or questioning, we'll park and 30 people. I just told you, I got receipts for everything. Emails, signed contracts with sponsors. How dare you? I'm not asking you to take this post down. But I will say this is my response, because I'm not going to be called a liar or deceitful, or I'm not a fraud. Some of your comments and you're hearting them like I'm committing fraud in Missouri. Are you kidding me? People that were there, there's comments from people that were there. Bud Soda was one of the people that was at the 2022 Kid Conference. He had such a good time. He got so drunk he passed out at like 8 o'clock at night. He's questioning, yeah, I thought that only cost $500. I bought the guy something he wanted to drink individually. There was alcohol at the first one. That cost a lot of money too. I had extra food, extra alcohol, because you never know. You don't want to run out of stuff. It's embarrassing, some of these comments in here. People that, like, he was there and had a great time. And now he's like, ugh. You know what's interesting? I'm a cocky, arrogant guy sometimes. I don't hold my tongue. I say what I want to say. I'm very passionate. I have opinions. I've made many mistakes on YouTube. But at the end of the day, don't let your dislike for me cloud your judgment of what the facts and reality are and what experience people had. Because I brought people together at all three of these events, and not one person questioned them why they were happening. Maybe some people thought, man, some more people should have been here at 2023 in Denver. Sure, I thought that too, and so did our friend. But you know what he said to me? Man, what's up with Steve? Where's he at? Why didn't he bring more people? Well, man, what's up with that? That's what he said to me. And what you do, and you've brought that person in the middle several times, and instead of just calling me about things over the years, because you're a coward, bro. And you lied in this post. Don't take it down, leave it up, because I want everybody to know the truth and how you view things, how you remember things, and how you treat people that you so-called were your friend or your brother. We were brothers, right? I helped you more than you helped me. That's just a fact, man. Okay? Let's not call it something that it's not. Do I think you're a bad guy? No. Do I think you're misguided here? Do I think you're gaslighting? Do I think you got your feelings hurt because I made the video saying nobody would have been at the gig? Bro, what are we talking about? Maybe some people didn't weren't overjoyed to come to the Friday thing, but they got to go to Colorado to come to Saturday. But not everybody. That room, Saturday Town Hall, I'm not taking anything from you. But if we didn't do the GigCon in Denver, which I thought was going to be helpful, and it wasn't, it was helpful to you, not for me. It wasn't driving all that distance. There's multiple people in Denver that we know that I thought it made sense. I made the wrong decision in doing it there. You wouldn't have had that many people there. What are we talking about? I had people driving from Vegas, LA, other parts of I've had people come from Detroit, Texas, Kentucky. Another thing, I paid for people to stay in that hotel in 2023. In 2022 St. Louis, I gave people gas money and money to get their car fixed to drive up to St. Louis. I don't talk about those things because I got receipts to back it up. I never thought somebody would be like, well, where are the receipts? You're a coward. And if you were a man, you'd come talk to me about this on a live and address the community. Let them know. Be transparent, Steve. Don't hide behind a post. It's really easy to type some words. Maybe ChatGPT even wrote that for you. I have no idea. This is unscripted, with reality, with receipts. What you're not going to do is gaslight a community of individuals. Oh, there's a barbecue place right there. Check out him, Chris. You're not going to gaslight a community. Where's another receipt? I don't even know which one this is. Let's take a look. Let's open it up together. Oh, the signs. You're not going to... How much did we spend on the signs? Oh, $382. Is that transparent enough for you? We're not going to gaslight people. You're an embarrassment to this community. That's my opinion. You got anything else to say? You can come see me tomorrow night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You pick the time, you pick the date. Bring anybody you want with you. People that like me, don't like me. I have the truth. You don't have to like me or agree with my policies and procedures on the YouTubes. I have receipts and signed contracts. What do you have? A microphone in your hand and some headphones and a podcast that 10 people watch? You messed up when you made that post. I'm the wrong one. I am the wrong one to mess with. You guys decide for yourself. I ain't trying to change your mind. I'm being transparent, like RIDESHARE RODEO says he is. That post lacked extreme transparency.